Hey guys, I'm Will Solomon, a former pharmaceutical senior executive. I'm also the founder of the ACMA, the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs. Today, what we're going to do is I'm going to answer questions that you guys have about all things related to the pharmaceutical industry, healthcare, as well as things related to the ACMA. So I'm going to be looking here at the list of questions as they come in. So the first question is, I noticed in 2024 there were many layoffs in the pharmaceutical industry. Is this common? And the answer is, unfortunately, it is. This year in particular, I've noticed, and I would say end of 2023 into 2024, there's been a lot of layoffs. And a lot of this is because oftentimes what happens in the pharmaceutical industry is there's a lot of M&A. M&A is mergers and acquisitions. And so a lot of consolidation happens in the industry. And so as companies get larger, they begin to trim. And so a lot of these bigger companies, I would say 5 out of the 6 companies that have had a lot of major layoffs this year were, top 50, top 25 pharma companies. It's because they really need to trim the fat, so to speak, because in the end of the day, there's a lot of redundancy when you go from one company to the next in terms of roles, et cetera. So that is something that is not uncommon. I would say, especially starting in probably about 2012, 2013, the amount of M&A in the pharmaceutical industry really skyrocketed. So for the last 12 or 13 years, we've seen an increase in the number of layoffs due to that reason. All right, this is a great question. Who is ACMA accredited by? So, the ACMA, again, the Accreditation Council for Medical Affairs, is the first and only accrediting body for the biopharmaceutical industry. And it is accredited by the ISAT ANSI folks. The ISAT stands for the International Accreditors for Continuing Education and Training, which is under the auspices of the American National Standards Institute. So, if you're not familiar with ISAT ANSI, they're the most well regarded accrediting body in the United States, but they're also recognized globally as well. And so the ACMA is actually accredited by that organization. The ACMA also confers CME credits through the Accreditation Council for Continuing Medical Education, the Accreditation Council for Pharmacy Education for pharmacists as well. So we can give CE credits for physicians, CE credits for pharmacists, and we do it for nurses as well. So we have a lot of accreditation. We believe that accreditation is important because ultimately it means that the ACMA has to adhere to certain standards of excellence when it's developing its certifications, its education programs, its training, so forth and so on. Why is ACMA accreditation important for me? Another good question. I would say, going back to my initial comment earlier, accreditation means that there's certain rigorous standards in place, right? When you go to a doctor, if you know that that doctor has went to a very good university, has been accredited and certified by a particular board for their particular therapeutic area, let's say they're board certified in oncology and radiology and cardiology, whatever it is, it gives you that additional level of trust and assurance that the level of service you're going to get presumably should be better. So this is what accreditation in my mind means. Now, if you think about it, in the United States, all colleges need to be accredited. Why is that? To ensure that they have minimum standards and of competency in place around the courses that they offer. What are the benefits of earning CE credits through ACMA program? So, again, we offer continuing education credits to physicians, to pharmacists, to nurses. And the benefit is clear, which is that ultimately, for many that want to maintain their licensure in the US, they have to have a minimum number of credits for continuing education that they earn. Throughout the year. So these programs, the ACMA certification programs, like, for example, the Board Certified Medical Affairs Specialist Program, or BCMAS, gives you 5 credits, which is great. You kind of kill 2 birds with one stone. And by the way, it's the only board certification for the MSL and medical affairs space that does that. No other board certification offers that. Who are the industry leaders on the ACMA's board? So ACMA has really been blessed. It's an honor really to have the level of experience and insights that we have on our board. We have people on our board who have been themselves key opinion leaders in the world of medicine, entrepreneurs, CEOs, and former CEOs of very well known pharmaceutical and biotech companies, people that are really leaders in the space, people that are movers, shakers, that really understand how the pharmaceutical industry works and have really a vision for what it takes to be successful in the future. Is the ACMA recognized by leaders in the industry, meaning the pharmaceutical industry? Absolutely. The ACMA has been around for almost 10 years now, almost a decade. And oftentimes we hear from many leaders in the pharmaceutical industry and biotech companies, medical device diagnostic companies, that they'll get many people that have our credentials, a BCMAS, or if it's the prior authorization certified specialist program, for example, the PACS certification, when they're applying for roles, and they recognize it. Not just that, the ACMA works with over 250 pharmaceutical companies in over 80 countries. What makes ACMA an expert for medical affairs? So, the ACMA story really is a very interesting one. And it started really when we had an ad board, when we were thinking about, is this something that we want to really put together and build out? And we surveyed chief medical officers and asked them, tell us your understanding of what a medical science liaison does. Believe it or not, almost half said they didn't know. They couldn't really describe it. So to us, what that really means is that there's a big need to have minimum competency standards and a well-rounded understanding of and knowledge in the medical affairs and the medical science liaison space. We're experts in this field because combined, we have over 150 years of experience in medical affairs as medical science liaisons. Myself, as the founder of the ACMA, I used to be a medical science liaison. I used to head up MSL teams and medical affairs teams. So I know what it takes to do that role. And the folks that I work with do as well as all the subject matter experts that helped us develop the BCMAS program. All right. How long has the ACMA been present? So as I mentioned, it's almost been about 10 years, which is crazy that it's already been almost 10 years, but we've been around for almost that time, and it's really been a wonderful experience. Does the ACMA only have a one size fits all training, or are you an educational provider that can build custom? Really good question. So we offer both. We have, certification programs that are built out. They're self-paced online e-learning modules. And we also have the ability to develop custom training. So we can do custom training that's live virtual, like let's say on a Zoom. We could do it virtual, where it's only an online module or online program, but it's customized for your particular need as a pharmaceutical company. Or we can build out a whole training library. So if you have a bunch of courses and you want to put them into a library, or you have clinical papers, PowerPoints, talks, but you don't have them in an organized fashion, and you want to develop a compliant pharma-based e-learning training platform, we do that for you. Who in the pharmaceutical industry does the ACMA partner with? So we partner with many companies. We've worked with many companies. We have agreements with many of the major pharmaceutical companies, as well as many folks in academia as well. So, for example, we work with companies like Novartis, companies like BMS, Bristol Myers Squibb, companies like Novo Nordisk. We have universities that we work with, colleges of pharmacy that send their students actually to do their rotations at the ACMA. Schools like Rutgers College of Pharmacy, University of Illinois, Chicago's College of Pharmacy, St. John's in New York. So there's many. So we've been really lucky to have a really phenomenal ecosystem of partners. Where are we located? So the ACMA is actually physically located in the Northeast part of the United States in New Jersey. So we're actually in northern New Jersey. Our headquarters are in an area called Oradell, New Jersey, which is right outside of New York City, about 30 minutes outside of New York City. We used to have offices actually in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Mumbai, India, in Abu Dhabi, in the Emirates, but those were actually closed down after COVID because many people became virtual remote. Does the ACMA offer scholarships for certifications? The answer is we do. We've given over $1 million in scholarships over the years for people that want to get certified but can't afford it due to financial hardship. So as long as you can demonstrate, one, eligibility for the certifications, and two, that there's financial hardship and you have to submit 2 letters of reference, usually professional references, you can get a scholarship. And we're very happy to do that. We actually have a woman that stands out who is from Uzbekistan. She was a physician that made $100 a month. And now she works at a major pharmaceutical company earning 6 figures. So, we're happy to be able to help people where we can. Okay, so here are some questions about the Board Certified Medical Affairs Specialist Program, or BCMAS. So is BCMAS only for people looking to break into the industry? The answer is no. So BCMAS really is a standard for the industry. Now, people who are physicians, pharmacists, PhDs, other people that meet the eligibility criteria, if they can enroll, and it certainly can help them break into the industry. We have data that we know that can help. But that's not really the intention necessarily only, I would say. I would say the primary reason for BCMAS is for it to be a standard. It is really the official certification, board certification for medical science liaisons and medical affairs professionals. How does BCMS benefit someone who has years of experience? Great question. So actually, on average, the people that do BCMS have 5 years of experience in the industry. On average, they have 5 years of experience. We have people that do BCMS that have 20, 25 years of experience, and they come back and say, wow, I didn't realize how much I didn't know. So again, to be clear, it is not for people necessarily that are only trying to break in. It really is for anyone who works in the medical science liaison or the medical affairs space. And anyone with medical affairs is eligible, including medical science liaisons. How do I show employers that I have BCMS? Great question. LinkedIn. Make sure you leverage your LinkedIn. Put it in your title, right? So if, Jane Doe, Farm D, BCMS, put it in your title. Feature it on your education and credentials. Put it on your resume. Highlight the work that you've done and demonstrate your commitment and willingness to be the best and distinguish yourself in the industry. So that's important. And in interviews, I'd bring it up. Why you did BCMS. You did it because you want to be able to demonstrate your commitment for this field and your willingness to grow and learn and develop. That's huge. Anybody for me that comes and has additional credentials in their designation, their title, that tells me that this person is always looking to learn and develop and grow. And all employers love that. No one wants anyone who's stagnant. Is BCMS recognized by leaders in the industry? I think we answered that. Is BCMS required to become an MSL? It isn't required to become an MSL in most companies. There are some companies that actually now require BCMAS, so it gives you that leg up, but it is not a requirement necessarily. I don't have a doctorate degree. Do I need a doctorate a doctorate to be successful and succeed in medical affairs? So, there's different schools of thought on this issue. Some believe you need to have a terminal degree. Others don't. I think that it really depends on the situation. I've seen many in certain therapeutic areas that have a master's degree that are, nurses or physician assistants that don't necessarily have the D degree, so to speak. So I don't think you need it to be successful, but I think does it help? Yes, I think it does help. What types of positions will BCMS help me get? So really anything within medical affairs in the pharmaceutical industry. So anything like medical science liaison, medical affairs director, medical affairs manager, a medical affairs information specialist, health economic outcomes research, anything like that, right? Anything within medical pharmacovigilance, which is drug safety, but also positions that are servicing the pharma industry that work on the medical side. So let's say you want to work at a PUBS company, publication planning company, a medical education company, or med ed company, promotional, non-promotional, those types of agencies. They would all love people that have BCMS because you're going to have a wealth of knowledge that you can be able to use to hit the ground running. Is the board exam hard? How do I study? So to give you an idea, over 90% of the people that do the BCMS board exam pass the first time. Some do have to take it the second time. It is, a moderately challenging exam. It's done online, but there's a proctor who watches you take it, so you can't use any notes or anything like that. The best way to study really is in our program, we offer a quiz bank. So a question bank of 200 questions you can just use to practice for the BCMS actual board exam. There's also knowledge check questions in our 20 modules in BCMS before and after each module. So I think if you study the modules, study the questions, you shouldn't have a problem. Who created BCMS? So BCMS was created really by a group of experts in various fields, in the pharma side, academia, the clinical side. So for example, when we wanted to develop the module on health economic outcomes research, we got a health economic outcomes research expert. We want to develop a module on, let's say, medical information. We got a medical information expert. So you get the idea. So it's created really by specific experts, and it's updated, by the way, every few months to make sure that it's reflecting the changing dynamics of the market for medical affairs. Oh, this is a good question. I'm in a global medical affairs team, so ex-US. How will BCMS benefit me? Isn't it US centric? So the answer is no. So people may not realize is we actually have different versions of the BCMS program tailored by the region of the world you're in. So for example, if you're a BCMS professional or you're trying to get BCMS, become board certified and you're in New York, you would get the US version. But if you're in Germany, you would get the EU version. If you're in India, you get the Indian version. If you're in the Middle East, you get what we call the MENA version, Middle East, North Africa. So we actually have different versions for the entire world. And we do this because if you don't know, the regulatory bodies differ from region to region. So, for example, in the US, we have the FDA, but in Canada, we have Health Canada, or in Europe, we have EMA. So, we have to adjust for that. So, the great thing is if you're a company and you have a US and global medical affairs team of, 1,000, 2,000 people, you can train them, like that. On all the same materials, have uniformity and level set your whole organization, but still maintain the differences that you need to from an educational perspective for each region. PRC. So this is a good question. This is about the PRC certification. So this is our pharmaceutical rep certification. Someone asked a question, will this help me break into the pharmaceutical sales field? So it is the only accredited pharmaceutical representative certification in the field. It's a great program. We actually just completely revamped the program. The content is phenomenal. It's excellent. Number one program in the field if you want to be a pharma sales professional. And I would say the answer is a resounding yes, because this is a very competitive space. Pharma sales is one of those areas where it's the creme de la creme of sales. So to break in is not easy. To build your career is not easy. So I would say absolutely could help you break in and transition into that role. What's the difference between CSPP and PRC? So what's CSPP? All these acronyms I'm throwing out at you. CSPP is a certified specialty pharma professional certification. This is for specialty pharma sales professionals, different than PRC, which is for more general pharmaceutical sales reps. So if you're a specialty pharma rep, and there are hundreds of thousands of specialty pharma reps around the world, CSPP is the program for you. It's going to cover everything you need to be successful as a specialty pharma rep. And like PRC, it is accredited, and it's a great program if you want to get into the specialty pharma space. Okay, here are some questions on the field reimbursement prior authorization space. So which roles are best suited for PACS? Meaning, I guess what this means here is for the prior authorization certified specialist or PACS program, which types of people should enroll in that program? And I would categorize it really into a few categories. One, I would say field reimbursement specialists, field reimbursement managers, patient services, anybody working in market access, because the PACS program is going to help your company maximize market access and streamline access to these important medications for patients. But there's also the prior auth specialists, the people that are actually doing the prior authorization, that are in the field, kind of in the trenches, so to speak. They would be phenomenal candidates for this, and many of them actually do, in fact, do it. Then I would say pharmacists who work on the managed care side. So if you're a pharmacist, or maybe even a physician, you work on the managed care side and a payer, or you're doing work in reimbursement or formulary management, great program. Who developed PACS? Insiders that came from the payer side, people from the industry, people from the clinical side, many specialists who work on the prior auth side. So it is a phenomenal program. It is by far our, I would say our most popular program, and it's the number one program in the country. It's actually used by, I would say, probably out of the top 50 companies, I think 49 of the 50 use it. So it's a phenomenal program. I highly recommend it to anybody who's working in reimbursement, formulary management, market access, prior authorization, any of that type of stuff. It covers everything you need to know, and it's updated every few months as well, similar to the BCMAS program and all our certifications. Can I use PACS in my title designation? Yes, absolutely. You can, again, similar to BCMS, you can use it in your title. Many companies nowadays require it. They want it. It's been something that everybody does. So for sure. It's something that I think you can use it. Again, it's an accredited program. You can enroll anytime. One question here is, when can I enroll? All of our programs are self-paced, so it's an enrolling admission. So anytime you can enroll, and you start when you like. You typically get 6 months of access to our programs. Do employees usually reimburse for enrollment into the prior authorization program? Yes, they do. Most employers, even I would say for the other certifications as well, if you ask them that you want to do something, to help develop yourself professionally, they will actually reimburse you for the PACS program. All right, so that looks like that was the last question. I hope that you found this helpful, and I'll talk to you guys soon.